All right, let's check it out. Sasha Alex Sloan, Older.
I used to shut my door when my mother screamed in the kitchen. I turned the music up, get high and try not to listen to every little fight, 'cause neither one was right. I swore I'd never be like them, but I was just a kid back then. The older I get, the more that I see. My parents aren't heroes, they're just like me. And loving is hard, it don't always work. You just try your best not to get hurt. I used to be mad, but now I know sometimes it's better to let someone go. It just hadn't hit me yet. The older I get, I used to wonder why they could never be happy. I used to close my eyes and pray for a whole nother family where everything was fine, one that felt like mine.
I like her voice.
I swore I'd never be like them, but I was just a kid back then. The older I get, the more that I see. My parents aren't heroes, they're just like me. And loving is hard, it don't always work. You just try your best not to get hurt. I used to be mad, but now I know sometimes it's better to let someone go. It just hadn't hit me yet. The older I get. The older I get, the more that I see. My parents aren't heroes, they're just like me. And loving is hard, it don't always work. You just try your best not to get hurt. I used to be mad, but now I know sometimes it's better to let someone go. It just hadn't hit me yet. The older I get.
This is beautiful. I love her voice. I've never heard of her before. Sasha Alex Sloan, American singer-songwriter, I think it said. I love the timbre of her voice. There's something about it that's soft and soothing, and there's still yet a little bit of a rasp and kick to it. Beautiful song. The composition is straightforward, and yet it's so beautiful. The acoustic guitar just very fitting. This image is getting me. Um, I feel torn with this song personally because there's things that are happening in my life that make this personal, and at the same time, I feel like I can relate to this because I know of people who have shared that as they've gotten older, they understand their parents better. And it's been happening to me too, where certain things start making sense. And I go, oh yeah, I know I understand better now. I understand better why they did or didn't do this or that. And, there's empathy grows as you go through things yourself. And my mom said poignantly how you don't know what you don't know, right? We all, when we're younger, criticize things about our parents or different people in our lives. And until we get to that point ourselves, we may not agree, or until we get to that point ourselves, we may not realize that we're not so much different. And now it makes sense. And now we understand. And now we wish we could go back in time and do things differently, but we didn't know what we didn't know. On one hand, it sucks that you can't go back in time and tell your younger self or know the things you know now. But at the same time, that's just the dichotomy of life, is that you have to get through it to learn it. And you can't know at 20 what you'll know at 60 because you haven't lived those years yet. And there's this dance between getting older, if you have the chance to be able to show more grace, to those who've come before you, to realize they were someone's son and daughter, even our own parents, and they've had their own trauma and wounds, and they're just trying to figure life out. It didn't come with a manual. There's no manual for life that has all the perfect, easy answers. And it helps us be more empathetic towards our own parents, but hopefully also as we get older towards ourselves, to be able to say, I didn't know what I didn't know though, right? Back then, things that my parents did or other people did frustrated me, or I judged because I didn't know. But I don't have to beat myself up for that either, because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't where they were, and I wasn't where I am now. And that's what I feel on one hand. But I say I'm torn because on the flip side of this, being a person who's really trying to do the work to also break certain generational cycles. And I know that may sound cliche to some, because that's kind of a thing that's said a lot lately, I feel, at least what I'm perceiving on social media. But I mean that. I want to do better. And on one hand, I'm seeing the need for empathy, and to go, you know what? They're not my heroes. They're just people like me. I'm starting to see them as fellow human beings, kind of like James Blunt in the song Monsters, where he talks about, I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. You get older and you realize my parents are just people too. They have their own wounds. But me personally, I think for many years, I did look at a lot of things with a lot of empathy and understanding. I did look at my parents and people, not always, there was plenty of hurt and anger, but many times also where I would look at them through the lens of what I knew about their childhood and the trauma that they've experienced. And it helped me even back then to have more empathy and for my heart to break for them and to feel the pain and to want to then also parent. I had then more the tendency to parent my parents. And so what I've had to sometimes learn also is to call a spade and say, no, this wasn't okay. So for me, there's this dance between liking the lyrics and saying, yes, there's something about realizing it's not about who's mom and daughter. It's about us all being people, and we're not very much different. I'm learning things as I get older. I'm able to have more empathy and understand and forgive. But then the other side of the conversation is also to say, hey, certain things aren't okay. And I shouldn't just excuse everything either in the name of, well, they were just people, or they just had their own wounds, or, they're not my heroes. They just went through things. At what point do we show empathy and understand we're all just people? And at what point do we also hold people accountable and ourselves and say, no, this wasn't okay. I forgive. Yes, I understand better now. I have a level of life experience now that helps me understand we're not very different. You maybe did the best you could. But then at the same time also saying, no, this was not all right. And holding myself accountable to the same degree and saying, no, I don't get to now keep saying, well, I've been through this and that, so this is the reason why I am the way that I am towards my children. I then also have to be accountable and say, no, I will do better. And I have to break those generational patterns, and I have to treat my children differently or learn from my parents' mistakes. And does that mean that I'm not going to make new mistakes or old ones and they're going to have certain feelings towards me? No, I'm sure there's going to be things where they're going to hold against me and wish I did differently, and, mistakes that I've made. But I want to limit them as much as possible. So there's this dichotomy that I'm perceiving right now because of my personal experiences. I think there's something to be said, though. There's a time and a place for moments where we reflect on the fact that as we get older, we get to look at things with more compassion, and we get to understand that it's complicated, and the pain our parents feel is also what we go through. And we're all just new to this life. We're all new to this thing called life, trying to figure it out. Beautiful song. I loved this composition and her voice. What does this song mean to you, and what are your thoughts on having empathy for those who've come before us, and at the same time learning from the mistakes and doing better for the next? Talk to me in the comments if you want to go around the world and feel more music with me. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!